Welcome, Ratima.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good night, and some of you are probably sleeping. This is Freedom from Nigeria, and every Saturday we come to you with all things about freedom. As the name says, it's freedom from Nigeria. What does that mean? It means that there are indigenous people in Nigeria who find themselves in an untenable situation. They find themselves being slaves almost in their own country. And Professor Akintoye had a video out there where he was talking about the Yoruba people living as slaves in their own country. And in the past few years, we have the organization NINAS that has been talking about what that really means. How is that happening? And what can we as a people do to regain our freedom, to restore our nations? So today we're going to be talking about we're going to talk about what is Nigeria? What is one Nigeria? What is unitary Nigeria? We're going to talk about that real quick. And I have a few people here that would be holding that discussion with me. And then go on to talk about the book by George Orwell, Animal Farm. Last week, we talked about how that has such great connection to what's going on in Nigeria today. And the fact that in the book, it talks about once the animals, got their freedom, and in this case in Nigeria, once Nigeria got independence from the British and established the nations, the Western region, the Eastern region, the Midwestern region, and the Northern region, with a few more to come after that, something happened after that. And in Animal Farm, it talks about once they took over, all of a sudden, some animals became more equal than others. In Nigeria, we have a bit more of a unique situation where cows are more equal than humans. So we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to be at the it's touched upon in the book as well. It talks about politics. Is politics the answer in Nigeria? There are those who are clamoring for restructuring. All we have to do is just move the politicians around, do this with the politicians, do that with the politicians, and all things will work out just fine. Well, we'll look in the book and see what it has to say, but we'll also look at reality around us in the world, and we'll talk about that as well. So I've got Eugene here today. I've got Idiauku, and I'm sure some other people will join us. And we are live on YouTube, so welcome everyone again. So today we're going to start off by talking about Nigeria. What is one Nigeria? How do you define Nigeria today? Eugene, I'm not sure if you're at a place where you can talk about what one Nigeria meant for 1966 when the military took it over and collapsed the nation from what was agreed by a forefather. So can you tell us a little bit about what was Nigeria about? Were there nations, and yes, how were they structured?
Thank you, Jane, and for inviting me to speak on that. So when Nigeria came into be in 1963 or 60, in that area, Nigeria was almost like there are three countries, I can say, in one until Midwest was created. So each of the regions had their autonomy, and they were able to have their own constitution, their style of leaders and government, and then the federal was not as powerful as it is today. So when the coup took place, so that's when things began to change and began to fall apart, literally to say, and then they degenerated to what we have today, which is brought about the 1999 Constitution that gave all the power to a segment of people, similar to what we have in the animal farm story, in that instance. So from that 1999 constitution, all the power now belongs to the federal government, to actually to one particular segment of our people that have used it to, to oppress more of the other regions, and mostly have oppressed a particular region more than the other one. So even though in Nigeria, it's supposed to be where everybody is equal, or all the people from all the regions are equal, but that's not what is being practiced. I just read a clip today. I don't know if it's true or not, where police was fined some millions of dollars because they arrested Boko Haram and did not try them. You see today, everyone is aware of where, if you're from the eastern region, and every little thing you do, even if you're a politician, they harass you by using the AFCC or by other means. But if the same thing happened in the north, even if you're carrying AK-47 armored vehicle or whatever, it seems like you're immune, or you're in a different law system. So that's literally, let me just stop there. And that's what we are experiencing, and that's what's going on in Nigeria today.
Right. Thank you very much. And actually, let's really be frank. When we talk about NINAS, which is the Nigerian Indigenous Nationality Alliance for Self-Determination, and that group is talking about the fact that the Middle Belt to the South is experiencing things that are different from what happens in the far North. And some of the things that they experience is the level of insecurity that is happening in predominantly Christian and moderate Muslim areas, and those, of course, who don't This is the indigenous Christians, Muslims, and those who don't practice either, finding themselves in a situation where, one, there is an invasion by the non-indigenous Fulani people who claim the land. They actually claim that the land, that our ancestral lands belong to them, that God has given them, our land, your land. And so they have a right to it, right? And then we have the situation where they've teamed up with Boko Haram, ISIS, ISWAP, and these are the extremist Muslims who believe that the rest of us who are moderate Muslims and Christians and other infidels and need to be exited, I guess, from our lands, etc. So it isn't Muslims, moderate Muslims, and those who don't practice either, that are indigenous to land, who will be persecuted and whose lands are being taken, as the number of displaced people in Nigeria, predominantly in the Middle Belt, which has exceeded 4 million people displaced from their land. And we'll talk about what the impact of that is. But Nigeria was supposed to be union for nations coming together with a small center, and not what we're finding at all. What we're finding now is that there are no nations. So the Western region, which is a bona fide nation on its own, doesn't exist any longer. The assets have been taken. While between 1960 and 1966, they had charge of their assets and they contributed to the center. Now they've lost the control of their assets. The Eastern region, they've lost control of their assets, the Midwestern region, and this is causing quite a bit of a problem. So we find ourselves in a situation where those autonomous and self-governing nations have been collapsed. So one Nigeria is no longer one Nigeria today. One Nigeria today is what's called unitary Nigeria, because everything, as Eugene says, has been pushed up into the federal government, which now controls everything pretty much, because there's an exclusive 68-item list that includes all the assets. And then there is a semi-exclusive 30-item list that is pretty much functioning as exclusive. And a good example of that is electricity. Electricity is in that 30 semi-exclusive, but functions as exclusive because no one, you cannot go and set up an electricity plant and supply electricity to your people. Because I know of a few people that have tried that, especially in the Southeast, and those stations lie there, not producing electricity, because the federal government will not allow that to happen. So that's what Nigeria is then, which is one Nigeria, a coming together of nations to work together. And if you listen to Ahmadu Bello's speech in 1960, when he talked about the fact that he's excited that that the North can have charge of themselves, that they were self-governing and autonomous, and they were going to be able to do so much for their people. To today. And talk about just a little bit about why this is happening. And it's the Constitution. I think everyone in the land now understands that the Constitution is the issue. Well, can we fix that Constitution? Some people say, let's just fix it. Well, the Constitution is fraudulent. And just like a bad check, like when you have a forged check, you cannot fix that check. It is fraudulent. And there's so much that is in there that needs to be changed. And we really need to jettison that. Okay. And guys, let's be honest. The people did not make it. So that means that those nations need to go back. They need to have a referendum, which is what NINAS has been advocating for, is that under their self-determination right, those nations need to have their referendum so that they can determine how they want to be governed. Because right now they have been mushed together, forced together into what's called unitary Nigeria, that's especially not working for indigenous Nigerians. So now we're going to move on to Animal Farm. Let's talk about Animal Farm. Animal Farm, about where some people are more equal than others. We talked about that last time. We talked about the some of the things that we talked about the we saw videos where Allah was given 100 billion to stop kidnapping, a couple of years ago. There's a video on that. And we talked about the fact that the Northern Elders, and we showed the headlines on that, where the Northern Elders said that they're not someone from the North was talking about the fact that they have the numbers. They said that they have the numbers. Out of the 210, they claim that they have 160 million, and so they are going to keep power forever. That's not a democracy. That's not a democracy. Why? One of the reasons why nations were kept as separate nations is for this particular reason, so that one group will not dominate everybody else based on their numbers. Forget about if those numbers are right, but that is the mentality. They have combined. They're being killed. You've seen time where Governor Autumn of Benue State have been talking about what's going on. Okay, but guys, when you start talking about the fact you have the right to the presence of right. And then when you have a constitution that backs you up, that's constitutional applied. So let's just be clear. For indigenous, I'll pull it again. I'll pull it up again. Their numbers are being used to dominate everyone, and that's what do you want to talk to us a little bit about politics? ED, are you there? You need to unmute so that you can talk to us a little bit about politics. What did they say about politics? How did that work out for them? How did the politicians act in Animal Farm? Edie, are you there? We can't hear you.
Yeah, okay.
Now we can hear you.
Yeah. So politics as it is in our country, especially when they say they have the numbers, I think it's a kind of deception, because the numbers that they are talking about, they normally talk about not as one, but now because of the extremes of activities that we are seeing, that number is not one as they are thinking, is no longer one north. So people, the indigenous people, have now come to see that they are subjected as slaves. It's the kind of master-slave relationship. So and they are no longer interested in getting along with that kind of relationship. So the numbers that they are talking about is not really what it is in reality. So that is the situation at the moment.
Looks like Jim lost his audio or something. Jim, are you still there? You can hear us?
Yeah, I just did. I think I am traveling today. Nigeria, the freedom from Nigeria, and talking about the parallel between George Orwell's book Animal Farm to what's going on in Nigeria. You know, because the animals got their independence from Mr. Jones, and then some leaders emerged, and all of a sudden, some animals were more equal than others, which we'll find it in Nigeria. In Nigeria's case, it was talked about earlier, cows are more equal than humans. And then we're talking about politics. Will politics fix the problem? Is politics the answer? And so Idiego was just talking to us a bit about that. So sorry about that. And I do apologize again, you know, because of the internet, and we're having people bouncing in and out today, but we're going to power on. So Idi, just go ahead and talk to us about the politics and how the parallel between what's going on in Nigeria and what existed in Animal Farm, in that fictional Animal Farm.
Yeah, exactly. The case in Animal Farm having others more equal than others is a reflection of what we are experiencing in our country. For example, we see people that are living above the law. So no matter what they do, because of where they come from or because of the tribal group they represent, they are seen to be above the law because they cannot be cut off. They can say anything they want to say, and even though it's against the rule, but they are not cut off. And also, where in other cases we see maybe people that are haunted, even if they do not even say something bad, but because they are haunted because of where they come from, then they become a target. So, for example, we see what is happening, this kidnapping. I used to wonder, in this civilized world with the kind of technology that we have, I believe that we don't have a hiding place for criminals that can be carrying out this kind of thing that they are doing. But because this is happening in a way that the government wants to ignore it, or even indirectly or directly supporting this kind of operations. So they have their way. So, but it is amazing in the global world for people to really believe that things like this can happen. Maybe in a whole school, people can just come and take away hundreds of pupils or hundreds of students in a school and go away free in this kind of technology that we have. So it's really something that is not cannot be believed in the present world. But,
yeah, but let's talk about let's talk about that. What are the politicians doing? I mean, we have a lot of. I mean, we have the cost of governance is over 80% in Nigeria. But what are politicians doing about the insecurity and what's going on with the people in Nigeria? What are they doing?
Yeah, in most cases, I think the insecurity situation has become way for the politicians to amass wealth for themselves, because they will budget a lot of money for this and that, and at the end, instead of using the money for what is supposed to be used for, we see that it is not used for that, and yet money is already spent. So I think it is terrible.
Have we seen any activity? Because if I recall, the Minister for Defense came out and he said that they cannot protect the people, right? So has the government now given the power to the governors to defend their people? Have the governors requested, asked the presidency to provide them with being able to have a functioning security outfit that outfitted with the right equipment to protect the people against the Fulani herdsmen that are killing with impunity arms, and we saw some of that videos last time. What exactly have they done? And Eugene, you can join the conversation, and Sam, you guys can join the conversation. What exactly are our politicians doing to solve the problem?
Actually, the politicians are not doing anything to solve the problem, but as we saw when Buhari's son wedded, all those politicians that used to come out openly and pretend like they're fighting among each other, they were the ones there with the private jet and high-fiving each other and drinking and partying together. So they outwardly come and deceive people, but inwardly they share the wealth among themselves and use people. And every 4 years, as they're trying to do now, soon in 2022 election and 2023, whatever, they are trying to renew their oppressive method, which the 1999 Constitution had given them the audacity to conduct themselves that way.
Right. So, Sam, if you can speak, I mean, let's talk about the situation in Nigeria, the poverty capital of the world. And we have 90 million people living on the verge of starvation. And we have about 8 million that live into the UNICEF, 8 to 9 million that are really, and yet the politicians are taking home, like a senator is taking home over $600,000, over $600,000. So the politician, Maseratis and expensive cars, mansions everywhere, not just in Nigeria but abroad, sending their kids abroad to have healthcare, and the people have what? So let's talk a little bit about that. Where are the pay cuts? Why can they slash their salaries by 9% so that the rest of the people will have some money? Are you able to chime with us? Once you can unmute, you can just join the conversation. Yeah, so that is what happened. This is politics. This is politics, and yet for years, as they're gearing up for the election that's coming for 2023, money starts to flow. People start receiving 2,000 naira to vote, 5,000 naira to vote. And I saw one by Atiku. I think there was one that said you can get 10,000. As Atiku Foundation will give you 10,000 if you bring to support his presidency. So, but is it working for the people? That's the question we're asking today. Is politics the answer? And it's not just about what what we have up right now, which is about what the Northern elders are talking about. But what about the politicians in the Middle Belt and in the South? How are things changing? Let's talk about what happened in Animal Farm. In Animal Farm, everyone, it started with all animals are equal. And it was that all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. And then those some that are more equal, that was who were the ruling, the leaders, the politicians. They said that because they need their brain, because they need their brains to make decisions for the rest of them, they actually deserve the choice things in life. They deserve the choice things in life. They even went on as far as to say that the milk and eggs that they were getting, they didn't even like it. But they were forcing themselves for the good of the people to eat it. That's what it says in George Orwell's book, Animal Farm. And that's what we're seeing in Nigeria today. So is politics the answer? If politics were going to be the answer, the politicians would be up and doing things for the people already. And I do commend them, right? Let's not say that, things haven't changed. Since the constitutional force majeure was issued in December 16, 2020, we saw a lot of scramble in a lot of quarters to try to change things for the people. And one of the big things that was being talked about was open grazing. And for those of you who don't understand what open grazing is, and some of Nigeria actually don't understand what that means, open grazing is where you are more equal than humans, where you allow cows to go into people's farms, destroy their crop. They go into people's farms and destroy their crop. That's what open grazing is. Open grazing means that the cows can go anywhere into your garden, in your backyard, and eat up everything that you have planted. And we saw those videos. So open grazing, and open grazing is an important thing. And they must have very strict laws, and all farmers, why have they been compensated? In the Middle Belt is where farming supporting the whole country. And those farms are being destroyed en masse. And not just those that haven't been destroyed. The farmers are being prevented from farming, or they have to pay, not the government, but the kidnappers, Boko Haram, ISIS, ISWAP, to farm. And so there's starvation going on in the land. And if you give me a minute here, I'm going to bring up some information that someone sent me about what's going on with his mother in Nigeria, because the situation is grave. The situation is grave. And there's a lot of people, and again, these are not our numbers, people. These are not our numbers. These are real hard facts of what's going on the ground. So I'm going to read, let me get this up so I can read what was, what was said by someone as to what his mother back home is talking about. So just give me a minute and we will pull that up, because it is absolutely heart-wrenching. It is gut-wrenching when you see the things that are going on, right? The things that are going on, it's just gut-wrenching. Okay, it's gut-wrenching. And so I'm going to read this. It says, right now in Kogi State, my mother can no longer farm. She never depended on me for food, but now she cries out for hunger, telling how she's shaking for lack of food at the night time. Fulani herdsmen kept on destroying plantations. Kasai's son was always hungry to but now she herself lacks cassava. I desperately hope that ICC take action against this Nigeria, who's practically the supporters of terrorists. That is what's going on in Nigeria. That's the reality of what's going on in Nigeria. So what has that situation? His young lad, his mother, but she has never had money in her farm. She feeds others for free. What has happened? She's being prevented from farming. So now she herself, who was helping to keep others from being starved, she herself is starving and crying to her son for help, the hunger. And so, when we talk about this poverty, which as soon as Buhari came on board, Nigeria overtook, shortly after he came on board, Nigeria overtook India. It's a systematic starvation of the indigents, because when people are starving, they're weak. And so a little force can overthrow them. Just a little force can overthrow them. So Edie, can you take a look at the, can you set up the video to play? And let's look at the one where I think I sent you the one where Akintoye is talking about the letter that was, that was sent to him, or either that, or you can set up one. Autumn, you can also set up either one. Let's do the one for Governor Autumn. He's talking about, the taking over of the land, or we can do both. So let's just, if you can share those, that would be great. And you can share the co-host.
Yeah, let me share the one, Professor Akintoye reading the letter, right?
Right. That one is going to talk about, let's do the one with Governor Autumn, because I think he specifically is talking about the land there. He's talking about the fact that they're saying that the land belonged to, all the land belongs to the Fulani. So let's do that one.
Okay.
So whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and share that. And people, the things that we're trying to do here is to really sensitize our people, the indigenous Nigerians, from the far north to the because we are all and no, so we're seeing your screen, but we're not hearing anything. I'm not seeing the video. Had a very let me apologize to everyone because I am traveling and I'm in a hotel and the internet is just awful here. So Edie, you were trying to share the video, but it looked like it was frozen, probably from my end, because it keeps telling me that the internet here is very unstable. So if you can go ahead and try again to share that video where Governor Autumn is talking about talking about the land and what's going on with it, that would be great. So Edie, can you hear me? Are you still there?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, why don't we try that again? If you can go to the YouTube video and just click play.
Yeah, let me.
You really can tell what happen when you're traveling.
No, I'll share it now.
Yeah, I'm just talking about where I am. It keeps flashing up that the internet here is unstable, and so that's why we're having all these difficulties today. But we're just going to power on so that people will get as much information as possible.
But the one that
the one with Governor Autumn, where he's talking about, the taking of the land.
Okay, it seems
where the Fulani is saying that they own the land. If you could do that one. Okay. Hello, Mr. Falati. How are you? You're muted. You're welcome. Again, the conversation today is about Nigeria. We're looking at the analogy that compares Nigeria to the book Animal Farm that was written by George Orwell. When you look at the, and you don't have to read the whole book, just look at any summary. The summary, the parallels are just amazing, okay? Because these animals wanted to gain their freedom from the human, Mr. Jones, and they get freedom. That's kind of tantamount to, the indigenous Nigerians getting their freedom in 1960. And at first, they had all these lofty goals and the pigs rose to the top, and then they wrote an agreement for themselves, which is the Constitution. And in this case, in Nigeria, each of the nations, the Western region, the Eastern region, the Midwestern region, and the Northern region, wrote their own constitution, separate constitution. Let's get this clear. It's separate. They each have their own constitution for their own people. They each had their own president, premier, whatever you want to call them. They were autonomous. They were self-governing. So one region's president cannot come tell another region's president what to do. They were interacting within their own nation, and they agreed to a small center for economies of scale where they could pool their resources and do things better. That's really all there is. But then 1966, it got collapsed. collapsed into this one unitary, which the fraudulent constitution now is what does it say? It's not dissolvable, and that we the people made it. And as you know, as we've been saying before, we the people couldn't possibly have made it, because if we had, it should be called we the stupid people. Because how can people, they even guarantee their own benefits, where they cannot hold all the elected officials responsible in basic benefits like roads and hospitals and schools and even just protection. They cannot hold the elected officials responsible, because the Constitution in Section 6C says that you cannot take case to court to get the benefit to you in Chapter 2 of the benefits. So people want federal character. Federal character means where the federal government reflects Nigeria. Right now, the federal government reflects. If you doubt it, take a look at who's on top of NNPC or any of the major revenue producing agencies in Nigeria. It is the United Nations of Fulani. It is not Nigeria. It is not federal character. Have you tried to enforce federal character? Well, I heard a story. There was a group out of the Southeast that paid the attorneys together to get to court and cause it unenforceable. Now, that's a really stupid people would make that kind of. So, Edie, if you're ready, we can have a video and talk about it and move on. Okay?
Yeah.
Jean, while he's getting ready, I was going to mention that this animal farm story is similar to what happened in Nigeria, where all the people or all the animals agreed and created good rules for themselves. And as time goes on, things began to change, as we have seen change. And the funny thing, it says in here, pig. They slowly began to change things. And I'm not trying to call anybody or any group of people pig, but that's what we're seeing in Nigeria. But the funny thing is most of the people in the head and they have appointed do not have the capacity. Oh, anyway, let me stop.
Okay, so let me share. Can I share now?
Yes, go ahead.
We need the volume. We cannot hear the volume.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just check your phone. I think that I'm trying to remember. There's a setting.
Can you hear now?
No. You go to three little bars, something that you can look, and there is a selection for how to
Okay. So sorry, I
yeah, you can just go ahead and stop sharing, so that we can we're having quite a time with the internet today. And I'm going to apologize because it's actually coming. Looks like we've just dropped Stephen. So I apologize because it keeps dropping. Me jumping everyone that's trying to get on board. John Alinka, you're welcome. Thanks for hanging out with us. I wish I will, because it looks like your internet is it's stable, but we're traveling. But anywho, so we're talking about politics. Is politics the answer? And we're talking about the fact that in Nigeria, just like in Animal Farm, things started out, everyone had the good intentions, the constitutions in the nations. And let's be real. Even in those nations, things were not going as great as they can. Human beings are going to be human beings. But as Eugene was saying before we started having the technical difficulties, they made these good for themselves. And in the book, Eugene, if you want to kind of pick up on that again, we're talking about the transition from when they started to later on. Yeah, if you want to talk a little bit, you need to unmute. If you want to talk a little bit about that, that transition that happened in the book, to be amazing, right? We want to talk about which is all are equal. That was where they started. So where they go with that, Eugene? You need to unmute.
All right, I think I'm muted now. So where I was mentioning there, where it says like in 1963 or somewhere where we had all those regional powers that had their own constitution and were doing their thing. That's similar to what is the story here is saying, that when they started out, they had good rules for themselves. And then soon after that, things began to change. Just like as we see after the coup, and in Nigeria, the first coup, things began to change from there, and then it went on and on and on and got from not so bad to worst. We are now, we see one group of people controlling everything in Nigeria, and having all the major roles in all the ministries in Nigeria, just like it shows on the story that we are looking at. So it's just a very similar thing that it seemed like George Orwell wrote this story for seeing what was going to happen in Nigeria, as we're seeing now. So as the writer of this said, that he didn't think that most of these people, politicians, and most of our youth had read the story of George Orwell in Animal Farm, or even to make a comparison to what is going on here and to what we have in our country today, because it's just exact replica.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because they started out by saying all animals are equal, and then as power, and they now could, the things that they get, they now change it to equal than others. And do you remember what the actually did one day? Remember the other thing is, two legs are bad because they were against the humans, right? 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. But later on in the process, one day, to their amazement, they saw the pigs walking on 2 legs. So
yeah,
it's politics. Go ahead, Edie.
Yeah, that's the gradual process, The pig started not by walking on 2 feet, but first of all, doing some things like even wearing human clothes.
Exactly.
So it was a gradual
process.
Yes.
A gradual desensitization of the people.
Yeah, exactly. Right, so I think this is the gradual process that happened in our country. Absolutely. But now we can actually say that the pig is walking with 2 legs, as it is in our country now. So that is the pig of the thing. It's not only walking with 2 feet, two legs, but it's also climbing on top of human beds too.
Okay, what about, and there's even more of an analogy, because they talk about the fact that once the pigs took over, they gradually erased history. They erased the person that actually started the movement. What have they done in Nigeria? There is no history where our young people will understand that we were nations, a federation before, and now we're not. Young people not make a connection. So when we're talking about one Nigeria is what Nigeria looked like, because the government has taken away the current and a future generation. So they are not a big group. That's why it's important for us to keep telling our young people who they are. You are not unitary Nigeria. What NINAS is doing with the constitutional force majeure under the foundation is a restoration of what was agreed to. It is very important. They have 50 million police and 110 million house of money, which is a miss, definitely not, that's not a right term. And so they have 160 million out of the 210 million, and they oppress the rest of the country forever. That's why we had nations, because we're talking about the because they didn't have numbers, have no opportunity to rise to the top. That's what you're talking about. That's not democracy. That's slavery, where you the rest of the country for as long as you want. You think it's your birthright because you have the numbers. And that's why we cannot go to 2023 elections under that 1990, because that's what they're hiding under. Because that 1999 Constitution upholds the collapsing of the nations into one, what did they say, indissoluble, what's that word? Stephen, can you help me with what it says in the Constitution? I'm having a senior moment about what it says in the Constitution about it's indissoluble. It is not indissoluble. You cannot force nations and take away their sovereignty. They have rights under the UN Charter and under international laws. They have those rights, and those rights need to be given back to them, which means that fraudulent constitution must go down, and we cannot allow that to continue. Okay, because that's apartheid. It's not just apartheid, it's also allowing indigenous peoples, we see, we've heard them speak, and not Nigerians, and not from Nigeria, and the Fulanese that are in Nigeria is not their ancestral lands, they're non-indigenous. Okay, as AY like to say a lot, they are from Futajalan, Guinea, they are not Nigerians, and you can, because you claim and then claim that you have the numbers to keep oppressing them as long as you want. And the first was, that's not politics. We see the Autumn, and he's speaking strongly for his people. He's advocating for his people. And he has gone for us that his security forces need to be armed so that they can protect his people. What are the rest of the politicians doing? How many of the House of Representative members, how many of the senators have stood up to speak of the from the middle belt to the south? How many of them are speaking against it strongly and propose strong protection for their people? That is politics. What is politics doing for the people? There isn't much that you see.
Since we lost our voice, it seems, right?
Yes. She must have poor connection where she is.
Yeah, welcome, Mr. Faletti.
I know how many of you.
Okay.
I am here.
Yeah, guys, Stephen, when you see me go off, you can, I mean, the internet here is very poor. So we're going to end in another 10 minutes and we'll pick it up next week and talk about it. But Stephen, thank you for joining us. And I see that you're going in and out. I apologize to everyone. I'm the culprit. Internet in the hotel is very unstable and it keeps flashing up that it's unstable. And in fact, it keeps bouncing me and bringing me back in. So Stephen, you're welcome. Is politics the answer? Talking about the parallel between people, young people, go, you don't have to read a book. Get the analysis, cliff notes of animal, and you would see exactly what's going on in Nigeria, and you would understand the fact, as Stephen is going to tell you, is politics the answer, Stephen? Can you hear me, Stephen?
Oh, wow. The connection is very low.
Can you hear me? We're talking about politics and
I think that bounced her off.
We lost her again.
Yes.
Maybe, yeah, if you have something to comment, you can go on, sir.
No, what I was going to comment is just like it says here that in the animal farm story, that the character of the politicians or the ethnic group began to change. And soon enough, they forsake their friends, their good friends, and then created a system that only favors their kind. That's exactly what is going on in Nigeria. And then they began to oppress the same people they were called to save. These are the Nigerian politicians. You know, they were elected to stand for the good of people, but as we see, they go in there, they forget who elected them, and then every 4 years, they come back and share a bag of rice, 2,000 naira, and the people blindly follow them and let them back again. So just like about Einstein said, if you keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, it's called insanity. You know, sometimes I don't know when our people will learn, I guess through education and also through informing them and enlightening them, as you know, we're trying to do.
Exactly. You know, poverty is one of the strategies by the elites, those who that are ruling. So that is why they don't really do things to change people's situation. They impoverize people rather, so that they can continue to manipulate them. Maybe when time of election comes, they will maybe share either some could even be ordinary salts, or maybe give them 2,000 naira or something like that, so that they can go and vote for them. So this is, I mean, the cycle that we have found ourselves as far as politics is concerned.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I mean, really, what if we go to 2020? What's going to happen? It's going to be the status quo. Anyone heard any of the governors talking about the fact Constitution has to go down? Any of them? What are the senators? Are they clamoring to take down this Constitution? The fact that unitary Nigeria is not one Nigeria? No. Are they understanding the facts that we are in an apartheid situation where one group can boldly say, they can boldly say that they are not relinquishing. This is what they said. They are not relinquishing the presidency to the South. What exactly does that mean? What exactly does that mean? So this Constitution has now given permanent power to the North to rule over the rest of the country. That's not democracy. In fact, let's even talk about it in Nigeria. Can there really in Nigeria? It's unitary. That more people can in poverty and think that that's okay. Is that really a country? If these have the value of our nation, a consuming nation, electricity, it was not in the 30 semi-exclusive list.
Sorry, your voice is not clear. I can't hear. I don't know whether others are hearing.
And if it's recording this if it's recording this way, I don't think those people who plays it might be able to follow.
Yeah, I think it's difficult to follow.
Jane, this internet is so bad that if it's recording this way, I don't know those who may listen to it, if they will be able to hear us.
Again, I apologize to the folks. This is Freedom from Nigeria, and we've been talking about the thing going on in Nigeria, and actually, how do we get that freedom from Nigeria? And part of what we do is explain the NINAS freedom plan, which is where we take down the Constitution, we stop the 2023 elections so that the nations, the blocs, what is called the blocs, can vote in a referendum to decide what they want to do. And that's what's important. That's what everyone needs to support. I don't care who you are, as long as you're indigenous Nigerian or a Nigerian that believes in equity, fairness, and justice, you need to go out there and sign that petition demanding referendum. That's important. That's the one thing that you can do. Okay, it's important also for you to understand what's going on in Nigeria. You need to, join these sessions, join other sessions. It's talking about what's going on in Nigeria. Today, and last week, we're talking about relationship, the very close relationship to what happened to Joe's animal farm. And it's almost as if he was looking at Nigeria as he was writing it. So all you young people, you don't have to get the book. Just go online and look at the summary, and you will be amazed at the parallel. It's one for one. It's one for one. So urging everyone, the key things that we need to do to sign the petition demanding the referendum is to talk to your politicians and the political parties and tell them to shut down now so that the people can go to referendum. They can be the transition government. There is no fear for politicians. Politicians, I'm speaking to you right now, governors, senators, House of Rep, and all the accoutrement that go with the government. You will be the transition government, just like what happened in South Africa. And then after the people have come to an agreement as to what they want to do, you will still have the opportunity to be a politician, whether at the level or within the blocks, within the nations, the newly created nations. You will still have that opportunity there. So this is not an us and them. This is you doing the right thing for your people. It's you doing the right thing for the 90 million people who are starving to death. It's you slashing your salaries. Yes, you heard me. You need to slash your salaries so that of the future. And I'm not saying it because, you know, you're not making that much. Yes, you're making too much. You are. You are eating up the fat of the land. Okay? And their little children do not have food, shelter. They do not have a good health care. They are not educated. They are children and not just the future. Those 45 million, 50 million young people are the future, and you need to slash your salaries. I was going to say to you right now, politicians. And then you take another position in politics and you get retirement and your salary. That's sacrilegious. It is sacrilegious. I mean, people, you need to understand this, indigenous Nigerians. Tell your politicians to become the transition government so that we can go to referendum and bring some sanity back into the. So if people during the term are related to the person who's leading Nigeria, who's not indigenous, who's going to save the people? So we're going to end today because we're having this internet problem. You're welcome. We're getting ready to start because my internet where I am is very bad, and I'll have to kind of figure out how to fix that. But what we're talking about is people, you need to stand up, because in Animal Farm, Eugene, I don't know if you got to that section where we talked about the fact that there were some people that wanted to stand up and talk about what was going on. Edie, I think you have the quote that I sent to you in WhatsApp, where they were talking about that people actually wanted to do something about it, right? But they didn't know how. On this program, we're telling you how. It is the people that have the power. And you take back the power by signing the petition to demand the referendum, by telling your politicians to stand with you and stop the 2023 elections. They can restart after the blocks or the nations have had their referendum and it's decided what needs to actually happen. That's when they need to restart. But you need to be standing up. You need to do your homework. We're giving you information every week. If you go to Njenje Media on his YouTube channel, you will see all those videos. It gives you a good roadmap. Okay, so again, my apologies today that the internet here was so bad and we really couldn't have an ongoing discussion and it kept bouncing me out, so I do apologize. Thank you, Stephen. It looks like it kept bouncing you out, and it kept bouncing out a lot, but they kept trying to make it in. Dr. Nwafo, I see you're joining us at the end of the program, and we're having to end because we've been having I'm having very poor internet access, and it's just really cutting people off. So if anyone has final words, Eugene, if you have final words, AD, if you have final words about what we're talking about, Animal Farm, the Nigeria story, is politics the answer? Eugene, final thoughts.
A quick comment.
Okay, go ahead, Stephen, now that you can speak. Eugene, it gives you a minute to collect your thoughts.
Thank you. in light of recent developments in the self-determination effort, I'm happy to report that the Yoruba Nation Global Directorate this morning at its town hall meeting reaffirmed its support of and presence with NINAS in its self-determination effort.
Yay,
So,
that's a win, Stephen. I'm very happy to hear about that because we've been working on that. That's awesome. That's great news, Stephen. That's great news. That's awesome. That's awesome. And people, that's what needs to happen. Organizations, are you listening? You don't have to be quote unquote, in NINAS and dissolve your organization. You just need to support the NINAS message. That's the message we've been delivering across to everyone. Okay. We have to end the Constitution. We've got to stop the 2023 elections, and we have to go to referendum and let the people decide. That's what we need to do. So that's great news, Stephen. Thank you so very much for sharing that news. And I know some people are asking, well, what happened what happened this past week? All I'm going to say is what I'm saying here. We are all still driving to the message of freedom that NINAS has. We're not all going to take the same way to get there, but at the end of the day, that's the message that everyone supports. And so the more people that come on board, the more organizations that bring their people on board to the NINAS message. That's what we want you all to focus on the message. It's not about individuals. It's not about groups or organizations. It's about the message. Everyone needs to support
the mission.
Yes, absolutely.
We have a common situation. We have a common problem. So, and we are pursuing that common goal. So our goal is common, is one. We have one single goal, freedom. Freedom is what we are looking for. So that is what unites us. It's not about individuals. It's not about maybe some specific associations or whatever. So we are driving towards that common goal. So I'm so happy also to hear what our brother reported from the Yoruba group. So it's a thing of joy.
Yoruba, yeah, we've been working with you guys for a while. So that is great news, because embracing the message is what's important. And that's what we preach here all the time, okay? And those organizations, if you're afraid that, you have to be in NINAS or you have to dissolve, no. Actually, we prefer you not to, because we need all the voices. We need all the organizations out there speaking from their voice, because the more organizations that we have that's supporting the message, the more effective the message is going to be. Okay, so at Freedom from Nigeria, we support the NINAS message completely, and we're, getting that information out to everyone, right? Getting that information out to everyone. I said Dr. Nwafo is here, which is something that we've talked about a few times, about the fact that everyone needs to embrace this message, embrace the process and the Constitution, stop the 2023 election under the 1999 Constitution, go to referendum, and then see what the nations need to look like after that. Okay, so I see Donald, did you want to make a comment? Dr. Nwafo, any final words? It seems like the internet has been stable for like a minute, but I don't want to keep, us breaking in and out of the messaging because it's very disruptive. But again, we're talking about Animal Farm. All you young people, all you NSASAs, please go and look at the parallel between Animal Farm and what's going on in Nigeria, and the fact that we need to stand up. We're giving you the tools in this program. We're telling you the things that you need to do. And we want to bring you in so that we can have these discussions. So we can talk about specific things that we need to do, reaching out to lawmakers around the world, right? Reaching out to the press around the world so that we control the narrative. So we provide the right narrative. We need our young people. Okay, you are needed. So Donald, do you have any final words to say? Dr. Nwafo, do you have anything that you want to add? Or ED, before we end the broadcast for today? Oh, Eugene, you were going to say something. So you've got a minute.
Actually,
hold on, Eugene. Dr. Nwafo is speaking. Go ahead, Dr. Nwafo.
No, I was just saying thank you. I just wanted to catch up on what you were saying. was good. Go ahead. I'll catch up with you.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, because we have a great opportunity. We have a great opportunity here. You know, it's come one, come all. And no, you don't have to be, under NINAS or in NINAS, whatever that means. You have to be in the NINAS message. We have to come together and we have to follow that process. Anyone that does not endanger our people, anyone that does not endanger the freedom process, any groups and organization, you're welcome. Okay, you are welcome. You've seen the video when we were doing the Million Mile March that Tony and Natty made. Everybody is welcome as long as you are following the process, because we don't want to endanger our people and we don't want to endanger the freedom movement. We want to actually get there. Sign the petition. It's out there. Okay, you can go to NINASFFN.org or NINAS Voice, VOICE.org. That's NINAS Voice, VOICE.org. The petition is there. The petition is also in NINASCFM.org. So it's in a lot of places. So, and what I'm going to encourage the organizations to do that have websites or YouTube channels is I'm going to ask you guys to please take a link. Take that link from the petition and put it on your website. I'm calling all individuals, I'm calling on all groups, get a link to the petition and put that link on your website so that your people and their people will be able to click and go and sign. It is vitally important that we get those numbers up, okay? So thank you again, Stephen, for the comment. I'm gonna come back to you, Eugene, and maybe you might be able to get a word in before we end. It looks like my internet is going bye-bye again. Okay, it didn't bounce me. Okay, looks like we're definitely having some problems. Donald, I don't know if you're ready to say anything, but Stephen, if you want to give us a final word, that again, great announcement. We really appreciate that. And, you and I will be talking later as to how we, what we talked about, how we actually operationalize reaching out to all organizations with the messaging.
I just want to encourage us to remain focused on our mission and the messaging that gets us to fulfill that mission, notwithstanding all the distractions. That's what somebody actually called the developments of this past week. They are distractions. And the only way to overcome those distractions is to be focused on our mission and continue pressing on. But after a while, the distractions will find out they're not having any effect on us, and they will disappear into oblivion. Thank you.
Well, I mean, let me say something about the distraction. I think the central core of the messaging is that people may not understand what's going on and having some assumptions about what's going on. And this is what I've told everyone before. As long as everyone is focused on messaging, as long as everyone is focusing on the fact we have to take we have to that's what you do. And innovation feels like, being a part of NINAS, it's not as, they're not able to reach more people. People might see that at some I'm sorry again, it bounced me. So I'm just gonna say final words and we'll end. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that in and of itself, and we're talking about Ilana Omodua, you know, where they are within NINAS, is not in and of itself a bad thing. Some people say, oh my God, I said, calm down. Everybody calm down. They are not withdrawing from the struggle. They're not withdrawing from the process. This allows them to bring in more people faster. That's what we do. We're all working together, okay? We're working with, you know, with NINAS, with Ilana, we're working with Directorate, and Stephen get a great news. And as we need to just continue to work, and we're working with the concerned citizens of Georgia that just got formed, right? They've come on board, we brought them on board, okay? We're working with NCWS to bring them on board to the NINAS message. And I'm gonna be talking to Dr. Wafa so that we can really start to move forward with reaching out to other groups who can, you know, who can take pieces of the message. You don't have to ascribe to all of it, whether I look at it. All of it is necessary, right? But as long as you are focusing and driving us to where we need to get to, take the message and run with it, please. Okay, so we're going to have a session shortly, if not in December, probably in January. Organization. We the message, we give you the tools so that you can be part of this movement to gain freedom for the indigenous Nigerian. Well, thank you all very much. Thank you, Eugene. Thank you, Stephen. Dr. Mwafo, thank you, Donald. We didn't get to hear from you. Olatunji, my apologies. The internet was really bad. And those who are on YouTube and Facebook, we do apologize for the breaks we're having in internet. This is the first time that I'm having this problem. So everyone have a great weekend, and we'll be here next week, same time. And we will redo this in the beginning and talk a little bit more about how do we stop the 2023 elections. So thank you all again, and have a pleasant weekend.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
All right.
Hey, I stopped the live streaming. So you guys, so Steve, we can chat while we are here. Dr. Mwafo. Yeah, I stopped the live streaming so we can have. Let me just make sure that that has happened. I'm not, you know, I hope that that has happened.